Hey everybody, how's everybody? Let me just plug myself in. I wanted to jump in right on time, guys, because I am so excited for this live. I feel like sometimes inspiration comes at the right time, and these lives, in terms of the trainings that you have seen, have been super inspiring and inspired from a place of so much groundedness in myself, and I'm really excited to share with you this live. What's up, Vicky? How are you, beautiful? How's business? I'm pretty sure you're self-employed too, right? Hey, Elizabeth, how are you? Guys, I dressed up for you guys because, you know, we don't need to just do it for other people, but I did it for you guys because you guys are my fave people on this planet. Let me know if you could hear me. Let me know if you have any issues hearing me speak. Let me just invite some people, make sure people are getting my invite, because, you know, this is going to be kind of like a hashtag mind-blowing live, because we're going to be talking about some real deep shit. And a lot of that has to do with my own personal experience, but most of all, most of all has been not only my own personal experience, but the work I've done with women in this space who are really feeling lost after becoming moms. And some of them don't realize it, or they do realize it, but they push it so deep down that they become mom bees, meaning they're not really there. You know what I mean? We know those moms. They just like push down all their dreams, goals, and aspirations and trade it in for everything they hated at some point, and then they're no longer really there. Yeah. So some of us come to these realizations about like how lost and how broken we can be in different parts of our life, either really early on. As soon as we become moms, it's like the shit falls into pieces and we're like, whoa, right? We make that realization real quick, right? And then other ones realize it much later in the game. And all of us have our timing, right? We all have, hey Tori, hey Rose, we all have our timing in terms of when we realize that, you know, we've kind of either lost ourselves in the narrative of what being a mom is, or we've just numbed ourselves really through the whole process, you know? So what I wanted to do this live, and I think it's such an important message, is because I don't want you to be the 40-plus-year-old, the 50-plus-year-old, and no shame in that, guys. I have moms here from all age groups, but I'm trying to save as many women as I can as they come into this journey of motherhood, so that they wake up and become conscious about what's going on internally, and don't have to deal with the guilt, with the shame, with the just the self-hatred that comes from thinking that we're not good enough at anything. Not good enough moms, not good enough partners, not good enough wives, not good enough whatever it is, housewives, whatever it is, you know, we start to believe this narrative of we're not good enough, or we're not enough, or we don't do enough. Am I right? Let me know in the comments. Say hi if you're watching. I really want to get people involved in this. So let me know if you relate to this. When in your journey did you feel the most lost? Was it right at the beginning? Did you just feel like, boom, everything just fell to shit? Or maybe it was a gradual thing, you know, like slowly and slowly things disintegrated internally. And I'm talking about an internal struggle within you as a mom. It could be very much outside of us. You know, some marriages fall apart sooner rather than later. Or maybe something really bad outside of you happened. But a lot of our struggles, a lot of the fights that we have are so internal and are so within ourselves that we forget that, you know, what it means to be us. Okay, so I'm really excited for this training, guys. So I'm trying to do it as basic as possible with not a lot of flashy stuff, because honestly, I want to get to the juice of it, and I want it really for you to come on this journey with me and do the exercises with me. Okay, so I want us to set an intention. Okay, I want you to make this time distraction free. I'm going to try to keep it as short and as concise as I possibly can, but I want you to use this time to really be with yourself. And if you can, watch the replay again and do the exercises with me. At the end of this, I'm going to share a worksheet that I've created for you, and I'll put the link in the bio so you can download it after, okay? But while we get there, I really want to talk about what we're here for, okay? So I want us all to set an intention. And my intention for this live training, my intention for being here with you today is really to get you to start being curious about who you are, what you're doing, what values you are standing for and against. Because the thing is, when we become moms, we get so lost and we just start riding the wave of whatever comes, right? We're just like, we got to go with the flow. We got to move with the pace, or else we get eaten up real quick. And we can, hit a dead end. So what I want you guys to do is set an intention. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Tori. So nice to see you guys. Let me know where you're joining me from. Share. So we're just getting into the training, okay? So I'm excited to have you here. So what I want to talk about, and this is what the training is about, okay? It's about why there's such pressure to be this perfect mother. And I know a lot of us, we're like, I know there's no perfect mother, Gisela. You don't need to tell me I'm a mess, that everybody knows that. Or, I've never met a perfect mother. But I'm talking about the perfect mother myth that we hold in our head. The woman that we have conceptualized in our mind to be the perfect mother. And it's a version of us usually, or a version of what we didn't have, okay? And what I mean by this is that when we become adults, we have our own ways of viewing the world, and we realize the opposite. We say, okay, this is what I don't want to become, and this is what I want to become. And a lot of that may come from a place of consciousness. A lot of that may come from a place of programming. And by programming, I mean that you have not really dug into what is going on internally from the decisions you're making, okay? So I want you to ask yourself this question. What is the perfect mother? When you think of the perfect mother, what comes to mind? What are the characteristics of this human? Listen, and we both know a perfect mother doesn't exist, but we have an imaginary conceptualization of a very high standard of a woman that exists in the back of our head that we are not living up to. Am I right? Let me know in the comments if you agree. Give me some love, guys, because I want to make sure that as many people get this live. I think it's such an important topic that we're talking about, claiming your motherhood identity, like the identity that comes after motherhood, okay? Because it's such an important opportunity. It was my breakthrough opportunity, okay? That it created a new opportunity for me. It dismantled all that I thought I was as a human, and it allowed me, and it gave me a space to rebuild from scratch and look at everything that was wrong with me, or that I think is wrong with me, okay? In terms of like how I want to live in this world and how I want to show up, okay? So what comes to mind, guys? Share in the comments what comes to mind when you start thinking about the perfect mother. And I'll tell you, like, I made a list of my own, because usually the list comes from the opposite of how we were raised, or how we think we're going to be different parents. Am I right? So I'm going to give you a very personal example. Growing up, I never felt really loved and supported by my mother. I always thought, she didn't really have a personality, and I love my mom to death, but I'm just giving you an example, okay? I felt like she lacked a backbone and strength, and in terms of like what I thought a mother should be, right? In our imaginations. So in my imagination, when I think of a strong mom, I thought of she's unapologetic. She has a backbone. She doesn't ask for permission. She's fiercely independent. Her word is gold. So when she says something, she means it. And she's strong in every way. So this creation of this perfect mother for me, and this is a personal tip, came from what I didn't see at home from my mother. Does that make sense? And a lot of us do that. A lot of us do that. Let me just see if anybody's commenting. A lot of us do that. So what I urge you to do in this moment of like, as you're putting these things down, I want you to think about really deeply about who it is that you are trying to avoid being like. And it's usually our mothers or our fathers. I've gotten a lot of things that, I've tried to avoid to do like my dad. So this is the imaginary human that we're holding a standard of what a perfect mother is in our brain. Okay, so in my mind, every day I wake up and I'm like, if I'm not being fiercely independent, if I am not being fiercely strong, unapologetic, if I don't have a backbone, if I do not have an integrity with my word, if I do not mean what I say, if I ask for permission, I am not being the best perfect mother I could be. That's my head, okay? But it's obvious that any of these characteristic traits, to a certain extent, can be harmful to who we are, right? Because anything to an extreme can be unhealthy, okay? And what I mean by that is, like, if I'm fiercely independent, it probably means that I don't ask for help, right? It probably means that I'm afraid to say, hey, I'm falling apart. I don't have my shit together. I know it looks pretty on Facebook, but it's not, okay? So what I want you to think about in this moment is, where is this character coming from? Where was she born out of? This perfect mother, right? That you've created in your head, because it doesn't exist. We all know that. Everybody makes a joke about, we all try to be the perfect mother. Yeah, well, it's a creation of our own doing, okay? And what I want you to think about is, most of the time, the perfect mother myth is created under these terms, okay? Some of these apply to me as well. Is, if I created a mother, the perfect mother, she would be gentle, right? And she would be endlessly loving, and she would be trusting, and she would be patient, and she will be selfless, right? How many of us think that those characteristical traits of a human in a mom are like, yeah, that makes the perfect mom? Like, that is the thing. And it's not that it exists. I'm saying in our mind, guys. So, Vicky, I see there's no perfect mom. We just try our best. Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. So it's not that we don't understand that there is no perfect mom. We understand that. But as women, as moms, we've created in our imagination a standard of a perfect mom. Does that make sense? Let me know. A standard of a perfect mom. So we've created an imaginary figure that it could be looking like us or could look like somebody else, of who we think portrays a perfect mom. Okay? So I want you to think in that moment. And the way we always describe women, so if we describe moms, and this is the thing, this is where it creates the chaos, right? The yin and the yang of the personality that starts to fight against each other, right? Before moms, we don't need to be known as gentle, endlessly loving, trusting, patient, selfless, forgiving, and strong, right? These terms only apply once you pop the baby out, and now whoop, you should be all of these things, or most of these things, right? Like these, you should be patient and gentle and loving and all these things, which makes very little room for effort if we are not. Am I right? So if you are, what's the opposite of gentle? Maybe aggressive, maybe rough. So am I allowed to be a rough mom? And in roughness, I mean like play a little rough. Be a little like, you know, like how girls, how boys play with their dad, like it's a little bit more aggressive. Does that leave room for error for me? Does that make sense? So I want you guys to look at how being endlessly loving, gentle, trusting, patient, selfless, strong, forgiving, strong, whatever it may be in your list, leaves very little room for error in terms of what makes the perfect mother. If you're just hopping on, we're talking about an imaginary perfect mother. We're not talking actual existence of a perfect mother, because we all know that doesn't exist, okay? But we're talking about the imaginary creation in our head that we've held ourselves against, right? So when I'm not being gentle and loving and forgiving and selfless, guys, the word selfless means to be without a self. How can we be humans, be whole, be the best version of ourselves if one of the requirements for our duty as mothers is to be selfless? Does that make sense? Like, it is so contradicting the relationship we have when it comes to our identity as moms and our identity as humans, okay? Because it doesn't work. We cannot be selfless in every way and survive. That's not how the world works. So I want you guys to really think about that, okay? Because that means that in our mind, we are holding ourselves to a ridiculous standard that is asking us to not be selfish, to fight against our own wants, needs, desires, and to be without ourselves, meaning to be selfless. So as we enter, we're young moms, we're millennial moms, it doesn't matter. You're living in 2020, we're in a new era. We want a lot more things. We expect to live longer. We expect to have more wants and needs. We are better educated, okay? Which means that our needs and desires cannot be ignored. Not the way that it was before, right? Where TV didn't exist, or like you barely got an education. Now we're so educated and knowledge is power. But we're at this road where we are so knowledgeable and we know what we want, but we are also being pulled back because we are just leaving the grasp of the generation before us that was still living in an era of being selfless, gentle, forgiving, and giving away all of who we are for our family. Does that make sense, guys? Vicky, let me know if that resonates with you. You know, so I want you to think about that stuff, because as we are in this transition, right, from being women who are making a difference in our life, who are standing in our power or trying to stand in our power, we are also living in that narrative in the back of our head that's telling us that, well, you're not there yet. You're not selfless enough. You're still selfish. And it's all self-policing, by the way. It's gotten to the point where it's a silent self-policing thing that we do. Half the battles that I've had with myself, it's always internal. It's always me, I was trying to guess what my partner thought of me if I did such thing. What would my partner think of me? Would I be a bad mom if I decided to take off on this business trip? And trust me, I got a lot of judgment for that. Would I be a bad mom if I spent money on myself to educate myself, to buy another course, to do this or to that, and it didn't include my child? So that internal battle is consistently happening. And that is what I'm coming away from. Okay, and that's what I want and urge all of you to fight against, is that internal battle that we've set ourselves up for. Sorry, my shirt is opening. And let's just say someone's not wearing their bra today. Because I'm home and I'm comfy as hell. Okay, so does that make sense? So I want you to understand very clearly that this is an internal battle that you have with yourself. And it's an internal battle that is not brought on by your own doing, okay? You're not crazy. You didn't just make this shit up. You're not just feeling it because you're so sensitive and you're a weak mom. No, this is because society has conditioned us, you know? Because society has conditioned us to think these things, to police ourselves. And if we do not, and if we do not start to question the self-policing that we're doing in our mind, then they're gonna win. And trust me, your kids are not gonna thank you for it. No, because I can tell you that no matter what you try to do, we're never going to be perfect parents, and our kids will always hold us accountable to something. But it's our duty to show them that we are living our truest, most beautiful life with integrity, with authenticity, and because we want to show them that they can have it too. So Vicky says, you can't stop being yourself when you're raising kids. If you're being true to yourself, it will make parenthood more enjoyable. 100%. I'm 110% Vicky, and I've seen you kind of go through your own journey from afar, so I can totally see the change in you. Even from an outsider's perspective, not that I know too much about your life in detail, but I can just see your energy shift, the way you show up, the way you do things, and it's a huge shift internally, guys. I'm recently separated, so for me, it was a tough thing to realize that, you know, for my own true happiness, it meant leaving the father of my child, you know? And it's not a decision I regret, and I don't know what that may hold for me in the future or for us in the future. I have so much respect for him, but it was just not meant to be. And that came from a place of really knowing myself. That came from a place of really claiming my identity and saying, hey, this is who I am. Can you love this person? Because if you can't, then that's it. I'm not willing to stay for the kids. You don't know how many times, guys, I get these messages all the time. Gisela, I wish someone told me what you're telling these women now. And they're 50-plus-year-old women. I wish I didn't wake up 20 years later with a man in my bed that I do not know because we've been on autopilot, and with kids who basically hate me because they think that, you know, I based my whole life around them, right? And they have resentment towards me. You don't know how many times I hear that story. And this is why this is such a powerful training, guys, because I just want you to get curious. And if you think that there's anybody that would benefit from this, it doesn't matter what age they are. I don't care if they're 100 years old. If they're moms, they need to awaken to their greater gifts and purpose and identity, because it's the only way we're going to change this world, right? So here's the thing, and this is what I want to go back to, is most moms, when we become moms, we push that baby out, we do two things, okay? One of two things. We either make our kids our entire life, okay? We make them everything that we put our whole soul into, meaning they come first in every freaking way. Exactly, Vicky. Cannot have said it better. If your kids know you're happy, they'll be happy. 100%. 100%. So here's the thing. Hey, Fallon, thanks for joining. So you can either make your kids your whole life, which is very often what a lot of moms have done, okay? It's all about the child. It's all about what they need. It's all about getting them ahead. It's all about this, that, soccer, practice, and all these activities that fill their calendar and leaves them absolutely no time for themselves. Or it is that they live through their kids, meaning I didn't have a childhood, so I'm going to do everything in my power so that they have the best childhood ever, and I'll live through them what I couldn't live for myself. And both these things, you know what it does? It ruins your children, because you are putting so much pressure on your kid to live to an expectation that you're holding for them. Because in their little minds, and as they grow, they think, hey, my mom's life is all me. If I fail this, if I do not make it to this, if I do not succeed in my class, if I don't live up to her expectations, I'm failing her. And trust me, kids know when you're miserable. Kids know when you're unhappy. And I remember doing the same as a kid. I'm not sure how many of you can relate, but seeing my mom unhappy, and I would be like, okay, I'm going to do whatever she needs so that she doesn't feel this way. And it would be a betrayal to myself, because in reality, I didn't really want to do it. And it wasn't necessary for me to be perfect at this thing. But I did it because it made her feel good. And she was living for me. So that was a lot of pressure to take on. And if you're living through your kids, that's also a problem. Because your kids also feel the pressure, and they feel the breach of privacy and boundaries that don't exist because you are trying to be with them every step of the way, and they're not allowed to be their whole, pure, wholehearted self. Does that make sense? So I really want you guys to understand that there is no winning. You know, we can spend our whole day here trying to dissect what's going to be the thing that is going to help us not screw our kids up, make us happy mothers, make us whole humans. But the truth is that only you know the answer to that. Only you can claim the identity that is truly yours. And that's what the next part of this training is, well, Gisela, I know I'm screwing up because I'm not happy. And my kids look happy, but, you know, I'm not sure I'm raising the best kids right now. Whatever that may be, right? So I want you to take the time to ask yourself some good questions, to get radically honest with yourself. Because the thing is, if we don't get radically honest with ourselves, how can we expect to lead a life that's truly authentic to us? How can we claim an identity that we don't know if it even belongs to us, right? A lot of us work from a place of programming, meaning that since childhood, we've been programmed to act a certain way, to react a certain way, to learn things a certain way, to be the type of parent that we are. I could have easily taken the route of the screamer because I was raised with yells, right? Like my home, I was constantly getting yelled at. Or I could have gone the opposite, the other extreme, which is like, I don't discipline my kid at all because I don't want them to be disciplined like I was. Both extremes are not going to get you the results you want. That's why you need to find your way. And this is what I want to help you do. Because the thing is, like, I'm not here to tell people how to live their life. I'm here to show you what I've done to help myself live the most authentic life that I can live. The most honest to God life that I feel fills my soul, helps me wake up every day with pride, even in the worst days, because trust me, it's not that I have all my shit figured out at all. But it's about really using my life to show my daughter that what she wants is possible if she can live authentically to her values and her core. Okay? And that's what I want. Isn't that what we all want for our kids? We just want them to be happy, fulfilled, like kind humans, right? And the only way we can do that is by mirroring that ourselves. Are we kind humans to ourselves? Do we practice what we preach? See, a lot of us are trying to help our kids find their way in the world, but we haven't even found our way in the world. We haven't even started the navigation. We haven't even set out to look. We're just living on autopilot. Yet we're telling our kids, preaching to our children that they must figure it out, make a decision, and do this, because you know best. Well, how do you know best? Do you know best? Are you living your best life to tell me how to live my best life? Yeah, I was that kid, so you can understand. My mother was not very happy about that. Yep, I was definitely that kid was like, I'm sorry, are you living your best life? Because if you're not living your best life, you don't got to tell me how to live my best life. Oh, my poor mom. I love her to death, but definitely #issues. Family issues are the best issues. I think that definitely they make you who you are, and they can definitely break you. So we're all learning through this journey, guys. We're all learning through this journey. So, sorry, I just wrote so many notes, and I want to make sure that I get through the points that I really want to get through, okay? And I want you guys to know that this journey that I want to take you on of claiming your identity after motherhood is not just for you. It has an impact on your family, and it will have an impact in the world. And the more we can start to show what it means to live the life that is truly authentic to us, the more our children will do the same. Because let's be honest, our children do not listen to us. They practice what they see, not what they hear or what they, oh, my mom told me to do this, so I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So that is why, because I know for a fact that I was not that kid. So I'm like, shit, I better start learning how to make myself a good parent by walking the walk and practicing what I preach, right? So when I started this journey of self-discovery, and I want to share my story with you, is because I want you to know that this journey doesn't happen in the face of the public. You do not wake up and say, oh, today I'm going to be this type of person. I discovered I am a authentic human being because I started to swear online and I put my opinion out there into the world and I blah, blah, blah. No. This journey of the work, okay, is an internal behind the door. No one sees you when you're bawling your eyes out with your journal and asking yourself these deep, deep questions that allow you to start digging into who you are in a way that's pretty evasive and pretty intimate. But again, it's a relationship with you and you. Because, why is this important, guys? Nothing that you water from an empty cup can ever flourish. Okay, nothing. And a lot of moms, we're working from a place of emptiness. We are completely empty. We are mombies. We are dead inside. We work from a place of autopilot. We're just doing it to get by. And that is just no longer acceptable. I'm tired of going on Instagram and hearing moms complain about their life. But are you doing anything about it? Can you look to change what you're experiencing? it's not about just accepting the hashtag struggle. It's not like, oh, momming is so hard and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is fucking hard. And yes, you have all the right to fucking complain. But you got to start looking for a solution. You got to start looking for a solution, because the solution isn't within you. It's about claiming who you are and showing your children how to do the same for themselves. Okay? So let me walk you through the process, okay? Because it doesn't matter where you are in your motherhood journey. Anybody could do this. Anybody could do this exercise. I'm going to put the link in the bio so you guys could see it, okay? But anybody can do this exercise with me, okay? And it's a daily exercise that I started about, I would say, a year and a half ago, where I actually sat down with myself and started journaling and really giving myself permission to be curious and to explore. See, the world wants to turn us into adults that like accept life and just do what they're told. Go to work, get the job, apply for, put your kids in a daycare or school and live day to day, But the truth is that life is so much more than that. And this is why I want you guys to dig deeper and to find the happiness within your life, okay? So this is an exercise that I do every day. And at first, guys, I started with literally 15 minutes a day. I did not commit to more than that because it was hard when you're not used to writing, when you are not used to being curious about yourself, when you are not used to being really open and honest with yourself. It's really tough. Guys, I have memories that are coming back to me from my childhood that I've literally blocked out from the traumas that I've gone through in life. And through this practice of making myself right and letting myself feel the emotions that come up with all the things that I've kind of forgotten about my life, it's allowed me to have so much peace in my soul. And all the things that were pulling me apart for being selfish or for feeling like, I'm not being a good mom and I have so much guilt eating me up inside. How many times I feel so like an internal battle of I don't know if I'm here or there. Guys, it's a matter of so many things and it's not going to happen overnight, but I'll name a few. It's about boundaries, clear communication, but first of all, getting clear on who you are. See, you can't put boundaries on people and on your life so that people respect them if you don't know what those boundaries are and who you are in order to know what those boundaries are. People are like, well, what boundaries do I put? Where is it, right? Well, the thing is, you'll only know that once you know who you are, right? And that comes from a place of really looking into what that looks like. So, sorry, I was going to get the link. I'm going to put it in right now. Okay. Yeah, you can just open it up, download it, and I'll walk you through it. The link is in the bio. Hey, Lori. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Daniela. So many awesome people here. So there's the link. Let me know if it opens up. I'm going to see if I can open it here too, because I would like to see it while I talk to you guys. So guys, it's a very simple exercise. The thing is, I do this now for 1 to 2 hours now. I can write for 2 hours straight. And I give myself permission to do this because I've created my life in a way that I've dropped the shit that no longer serves me. But I didn't get to this point without this exercise, okay? Literally, this exercise has helped me get so clear on what I want in my life and what I'm willing to accept. And this is just part of the exercise. There's so much more. But this part of the exercise has been the most insightful thing I could have done to create breakthroughs in my life. It's the reason I am no longer in relationships that are not good to my soul. It's the reason I don't no longer work with clients that do not appreciate and value me. It's the reason that I do not suffer from mom guilt in the ways that I used to, that it was debilitating and paralyzing. Okay? It's the reason that I have peace in my soul. So I really urge you guys to take this exercise super serious and let yourself be playful with it, okay? And don't be too don't get caught up in the gist, in the details, in the most stuff. Do it, okay? So let's see the exercise. So the exercise is really about getting some clarity, but setting an intention for yourself, okay? So the first step is to set aside 15 minutes to be alone. And really, you can do this once a week or every day. I urge you to do it every day. It's so funny, the moment I don't do some writing or journaling every day, I feel my whole aura kind of be a little bit off. Not majorly, but I can feel that I'm a little bit more ungrounded than if I was, okay? The second step I want you to do, guys, is to create a mood for yourself. And that may mean different things. It could mean lighting some candles, having your favorite coffee or tea, grabbing a journal. Like, I love going to the dollar store, guys. Like, I have so many journals, like, it's not even funny. Like, I have this one. I literally have a collection of them that I haven't even used yet because they're just like, you know, like, literally, I just love them because I find them so beautiful and just so inspiring. Hey, this one says, I'm my own hero, just bloom, dream big, live bigger. So this is my form of journaling, self-care, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And then I burn some sage. I bring out my favorite pen. Sometimes, you know, you have that pen that really just rolls so nicely on paper. I bought this at the dollar store, guys. I love this kind of pen. It's perfect. No, it's not this one. Sorry. It's this one. Yeah, it's like, it comes in a package of like 6 and it's so good. I love how it writes. And grab a fluffy blanket and sit down. I love burning sage or Palo Alto. Like, it's my, I think it's called Palo Alto, whatever. I don't know. Don't judge me. And create the mood for yourself. Guys, I used to wake up, so when my daughter was home with me most of the time, now I co-parent, so I do have more free time. Disclaimer, like, I'm not a full-time parent anymore, which is another story I want to share with you at some point. But when I was a full-time parent, meaning both my partner was home and we were both home and everything was always at once, I would wake up at 4 in the morning. 4 to 6 o'clock would be my time, and I would set my desk up. And if you follow me on Instagram, you could see it, that I would have my mug. You know, this is one of my new mugs. It says, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. And I would have my mug and I would have my sage and I would pick a prompt and get started, you know? So I really urge you to do that. And that's what I used to do when my kid was around all the time, because it was the only time where I felt like there was peace in the world. It was silence. My social media was not getting my attention. Clients were not getting my attention. My mind wasn't wandering, and I made time for it, okay? So create the mood. And you don't have to do all these things, guys. Like, if you like essential oils, use some essential oils. Whatever gets you grooving, that's where I want you to do, because you're creating a mood to just, like, get in that space of creativity of who's Gisela or who's Vicky or who am I right now in this space with nobody hanging by my shoulder, right? And the third thing I want you to do is to set the intention. Take a deep breath, and breathing is so important, guys. I didn't realize how important breathing was. Like, I'm more of a regular meditator now, so I'm not preaching you do anything that you don't want to do. I got into meditation because honestly, it brings me so much clarity. It's crazy. But I started meditating, and when I didn't really meditate, I do breathing. So I would hold my breath. I go in for 6 counts, out for 6 counts, in for 6 counts, out for 6 counts, and then I would start writing. And what that does, it just wakes you up, right? Getting air into your brain wakes you up. So it gets you ready, excited to start writing, okay? The fourth step is now you're gonna go into the prompt list. And I put in 11 prompts, and I actually have a new prompt that I didn't add because I came up with it last minute. And I'm gonna share it with you now so that you can add it. What am I accepting in my life that no longer aligns with my values, if you know your values? And if you don't, a great way to tell what no longer aligns with you is what doesn't empower you or what empowers you, okay? So ask yourself, what am I accepting in my life that I don't feel empowered by? Is it a conversation with your mother? Is it a conversation with a colleague you don't like? Is it a job that you hate so much that it makes you like want to rip your hair out every night? So what are you accepting in your life that doesn't empower you? Okay, that's another prompt I want you to add. And I will add it to this list once I edit it, but if you do get this version, you might want to add it yourself, okay? So here's some prompts. What scares you the most in the world? And play it out, each fear to its completion. okay? When I started my business, one of my biggest fears was I'm going to be homeless. I'm not going to have any money in my bank account, and I'm going to be poor and broke, and nobody's going to save me, and no one's going to love me. And when I played it out to its full completion, I realized that even if that was my worst case scenario, I could always get a job. I am super qualified for a job. And I do not doubt that if you put me anywhere in the world, either I would figure out what to do, sell, or get a job. So when I came into that peacefulness of knowing like, I want you to think of the fear that you have. What scares you the most in the world? And you can do these many times, guys, because many times the fears don't come up right away. Maybe they come up when you're triggered by something. So do it however you think. So what I like to do is I scan my prompt list, and then I pick the one that calls out to me. You know, the one that I feel resonates with me at this moment, you know? So here's the prompts. And guys, if you click the link in the bio, you'll get your own copy. You can download it, keep it for yourself. And I would love to hear any thoughts that you have after, or clarity that came to you after you did this journaling exercise, okay? The prompts are, what are 3 of the worst moments in your life? What are 3 of the best moments in your life? Because the thing is, we're just getting curious. See, the reason I'm coming to these deep uncovering of subconscious memories that I had completely kind of like put deep down into my subconscious is because I started the digging process. I just started asking myself, like, why do I wake up every morning feeling like I have no energy? Like I just want night to come so that I can get back into bed. Why? Right? And that was one of the first prompts I just started getting curious about. Guys, all these prompts, by the way, are in that link, so don't worry about writing them out. Just write out the one that I told you live, and if you're watching the replay, just go back. But, you know, just getting curious. Like, what are 5 things that terrify you if someone found out about you? So I just recently did an exercise where I reached out to 3 of my closest friends that I trust, and I know that they're like, you know, not crazy and not like out to get me or anything or hateful or spiteful. And I asked them, what do you see in me that you think I'm not living up to the best in my ability, or that I'm not showing up in full integrity, or that I'm self-sabotaging or playing the victim in? And girl, let me tell you, I got a 6-page response from one of my friends. And it was like looking into the mirror and someone just reflected all the shit you're scared someone may know about you back at you. And it was the scariest shit I ever did in my life. But it wasn't anything I didn't already really deep down knew about myself, because I've been on this process for so long now that I've dug up enough to know these things about myself. But it also, it brought me so much, first of all, love for her, for being so brutally honest and for opening up herself that way, because I told her it was a safe space to do so, and that I would not hold anything against her for anything she said. And in that moment, she opened up, 6 pages came out, all these things, and I made so many realizations. She gave me so many insights into myself, because sometimes the way we see ourselves and the stories we see ourselves as don't exactly resonate from an outsider's perspective. So it was so liberating to know that, one, I came up with most of these things myself already. I already kind of knew I had to work on these things. But 2, from somebody else's perspective, what they thought of me, from someone that loves me and wants the best for me. And 3, honestly, when you are able to look at the shit that really scares you, that terrifies your soul if anybody finds out, it stops holding power over you. And when it stops holding power over you, girl, you unstoppable. And I think that that is the best lesson that I've learned from this whole journey on reclaiming my identity after motherhood, is that I hope that my daughter never lives in the shame that I lived in for so long, because I was in fear of being not selfless enough, not loving enough, not forgiving enough, because I was not living into the expectation that I was told I should. Does that make sense, guys? I hope this is making sense. Hey, Carrie, thanks for joining. So as you go through these prompts, you take one prompt each day, whichever one calls to you, and then you freehand write, okay? I want you to no, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to correct it. I don't want you to white it out. I want you to know that the book that you chose to write in is the perfect safe space that you're going to be using to empty out your soul's deepest, darkest secrets, things that just eat you up and you have not allowed yourself to process. Okay? So many things. And I've worked with women long enough to know that whatever you think is crazy that you're thinking or that you've experienced, trust me, girl, you're not alone. You are so not alone. And so many women, so many of us have experienced some of the most traumatic things in this world, and we go about our life like nothing happened. Like it's just another day. So I urge you to take this journaling exercise seriously and playfully and lovingly, that not to judge yourself as you're writing, to let yourself, and this is why it should be an alone time thing. It should be a time that you set the mood for. It should be a moment that you get to yourself. And then at the end, girlfriend, go take a bath, do whatever you gotta do, give yourself a high five and a huge hug, because you know what? You did it. You are doing it every day that you are journaling, every day that you are putting yourself out there by putting your thoughts out of your head, the clutter, the thing that eats up at your brain, and you put it out into paper. It starts to lose its power. It starts to lose the shadowness, the darkness. And I always say this, the reason I'm still in business, the reason I'm still so here for everybody, is not just because I'm super inspired by the women I work with and the women who are living lives that are just incredible, but because I've looked at the darkest, deepest parts of my soul, and anybody that tries to poke at them and say, hey, this is disgusting. This thing that you are is disgusting. Because I'm not a perfect human. There's things about me that I am not proud of, but I've forgiven myself, and I've also processed it. And for that reason, I've realized that no one else can hold it against me. So girl, I urge you to break the chain of whatever it is that's holding you back, to claim your identity, and to lead a life that's truly authentic to you, because this is only the beginning. And a shout out to Vicky for hanging out with me this whole live and for being super interactive. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful for that. I hope that you did get as much knowledge and information, and that it got you curious and thinking about, the work that happens internally that really can set your soul on fire and make you do amazing things in this world. So I'm really excited for this live. If you're watching the replay, enjoy it. Go back, listen to it again, share it with your friends, invite some girlfriends into the group. I'm trying to do a group. I want to continue to grow this group and do some major giveaways in terms of giving you some free consultations and doing some work together. So I'm really excited for that. Guys, if you do not know, I have the Mom Circle. It's going to be starting next week. If you guys go to this to the group and vote, if you want to be a part of the Mom Circle, it's going to be free. It's going to be about a safe space that I want to hold for you guys, so that we can have good conversation, adult time, without always talking about our children. And yeah, just share the shit that's going on in our life, so that we can vent, connect, and recharge, because that's what it's all about. We really need that as women. And I'm hoping to host some real live events. I want you to look out for the Mothering Summit 2020. It is a diverse and inclusive look into motherhood from the perspective of the not so spotlighted stories, like the ethnic mothers who are differently, who are raising kids a little bit differently, whose experience is a little bit different. Okay, so keep a lookout for that. It's gonna be an exciting time this year for 2020. But thank you for being here. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. I will be announcing the 3rd part very soon. It'll be next week, probably on Thursday or Friday as well. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys. Sending you a huge, huge hug and lots of love. Bye.